Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rudy from K2. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for yet another exciting K2 webinar. Today, we are excited to share with you that we have Guyan from Nextech as well as Kate from STIHL with us to share a little bit more about how STIHL utilized the K2 platform to drive some efficiency and how Guyan and his team at Nextech went about using the technology, and share a little bit with you in more detail about how they went about doing that. So first off, I think it's important for those of you that are not familiar with K2 to allow me to take 3 minutes and just go through a few K2 slides so we can understand what the actual platform is about. So first of all, what is K2 and why K2? So the K2, in a nutshell, is a platform that focuses, number one, on forms. So it allows you to build electronic forms. Furthermore, you can create workflows or process, and then also incorporate electronic forms or reporting or connect to third-party reporting applications that allow you to build analytics and drive more information out of your processes. The important thing when you keep this in mind is that it is on top of your data. And when I mean by that, that could be any of your line of business systems that is running. For example, we have a few that you might be familiar with down at the bottom: Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, SQL, SharePoint. Depending on what environment you say, essentially K2 can integrate to all these applications and many more, which then allows you to start building solutions. Again, a differentiator is the way in which we do this, that it is reusable components. There we illustrate that using the concept of puzzle pieces. You build your first solution. Maybe you have a reusable component in a form. You have some reusable components to the integration in the backend to some of the systems below. And then over time, you build this reusable library of reusable components, which then means if I build my second process, form, or application, I can start leveraging some of those reusable components. And then somebody comes along and they're saying, well, Rudy, this is great, but can you enhance one of our forms? Can we change the logo? Can we change the company address? And do I now have to go to all the other areas where that has been done and manually go and update it? In K2, no. What we do is we go to the reusable component, we make the change. You see the white arrow or the triangle at the top, and wherever that component is utilized, it is now automatically updated. And again, there's an extensive rule capability behind the forms that I can say update 99% of my forms, but this one is for regulatory compliance. Please don't update that one. You get the concept. So in doing this, we actually create the applications faster and faster, saving time and money. But in the same token, we're also saving you an enormous maintenance overhead, so that as the organization evolves, you don't have to go back and then make these changes. So from that perspective, that is K2 in a nutshell. I'm now going to hand over to Guyan to take us through a little bit of what STIHL have done with K2 and explain how they went about doing that. Guyan, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rudy.
You just might need to move through the slide to where you were, Guyan. We're looking at the front page.
All right, I guess we are seeing the right screen right now, Emma?
Yes, you're good to go.
All right, so we'll get started on this slide. I'll invite Kate from STIHL to talk us through on these slides.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kate Evagora. I'm one of the business systems analysts here at STIHL. And we have been using K2 now for a couple of years. And the reason we chose K2 here was its ability to help us become a true digital workplace. It integrated seamlessly in with our SharePoint system and helps to provide when we expand our digital workplace integration into possibly our CRM system and our SAP system. So that and its ability to automate a lot of our paper-based processes that were and are still here in the business. So we currently have here in STIHL Australia over 10 applications that are currently in the production system, with 7 more already in the either the scoping phase or design phase or being developed as we speak, with over 30 more in the pipelines to be developed over the next 18 to 24 months. We have 100 users here at STIHL Australia, and based on our estimations of about a 25 to 35% increase in our speed of our processes, we estimate that it's saving well over 1,000 minutes per day with those 10 K2 processes that are live in the system. So one of the big advantages here as well is that the K2 processes and reporting enable us to be more efficient, but create that transparency in our business with what's going on with a fair bit of our processes and where they're at in the business. So one of the processes that we have launched around 6 months ago here was our product launch process. And we needed the ability internally to manage and create automation for how we launch products in our business, but also create that reportability and visibility for the business. So for us, this incorporated a range, whether it be a change in a product, a new product, or a deletion. And when we initially started this process here, the data and the information was being kept on an almost innumerable amount of different spreadsheets across the business. There was little to no visibility as to exactly where we were at in a process. Our users were incredibly frustrated because they didn't know which spreadsheet had the correct and most accurate and up-to-date information. There was a lot of duplication in work, people not knowing what to do, and it really increased the risks of us not being able to launch products as well as we wanted to be able to launch them. So with the introduction of the K2 process, our business users, such as our product managers, have found it much easier to be able to find the most up-to-date and accurate pieces of information. They've been able to take a more proactive approach with the business and with the product to ensure that we're getting that done the right time the first time. And the users in general are loving the ability for the process automation. They're getting reminders to be able to do their tasks, and it means for us it's running a whole lot smoother. So I might hand over to Guyan to go into some of the more technical aspects in the background for you.
Okay, thanks, Kate. Okay, so let's have a look at the solution. This application product launch basically has got 3 different sub processes. First one is new product or upgrade, minor supersession, and deletion. So out of these 3, new product or upgrade was the most complicated one. It's got nearly 40 different tasks. So the first thing we did Based on the high-level business requirement, we created a flow diagram, making sure we capture each task and the task owners and also the major checkpoints. So these checkpoints were in place to make sure that all the tasks required to be completed to move on the process is completed. And this diagram also helped us to understand what data fields, data inputs we need to capture so that we could design the form. So let's take a look at some of the screenshots of the views and forms we developed. So the process starts with a simple form where user selects all the information like the launch type, launch priority, product type, and all of these required fields as you can see in the screen. So the user, once he's ready, he can submit the form, or if he's not got all the information ready, can save it as draft and come back later and submit it. An email notification is sent to task owners for each task. And the important thing with these email notifications is these are customized email templates, email notifications. So these emails has got important information for the task owners to action on that particular task. For instance, it has got the task, the description, and the due date, and launch date, and other important information in it. And each of these tasks got a different due date, which is set by the product manager through a different product manager view. We'll look into that later on as we go through the presentation. And as usual, if the task is not completed on time, there is an overdue email notification. Of course, there are some reminder emails before that. And what you can see right now is a sample of one of these overdue email notifications. So this is also a custom email, which has got most of the information that the task owner should be knowing to action on that particular task. And another highlight of these emails are they are generated from templates. And these templates are saved in a SQL database. So we can anytime go in and customize these templates without just changing the code in K2. So what happens when you click on the link in here is the task owner will get his task form to complete his task. So what we are showing in here is not everything, but just enough information for the task owner to complete the task. Some of the common information like the description of the task and some information related to the launch details and the product details. This is a fairly long form, so we got it in two different screenshots. So as you can see in here, in this particular task, the task owner is supposed to complete the information related to product supplier. And also he's got the opportunity to look into the task history to see what others have mentioned, which could be important for him to action on the task. So once he completes the task, and he can simply add the comment, which is a mandatory field, and then complete the form. So once that's done, it goes to the next approver. So likewise, the process goes through across all of these 40 different tasks. So we discussed about product managers being able to change the due date and some of the other information related to the task. So we have a view called Task Manager. This is the place where the product managers go in and change some of the information related to the task. As you can see, the task name and the description, task owners, and the due date, and all of these important information. And in the task owner field, we are using K2 roles, and we could also use we could also add users individually, but in this case we're using K2 roles. And we got a set of K2 roles which is managed by the product manager and yourself. Yeah. So the business analyst, and we add remove users from the K2 roles without just changing the code in K2. Okay. And one of the other important features in the application is that the product managers, they get an executive access to all the items in progress product launch items for them to update some of the information. Most of the time, this information is required for the next approvers to action on their tasks. Once they click on the update button in the K2 list, they get this nice form, tab view form, where they have all the information in editable mode. And they can update this information regardless of the status of that particular product launch item. One thing you would notice in here is that there are two hyperlinks for Kit product applications. So these documents are generated based on the templates. So the templates are uploaded prior, and when someone submits a form, what happens is that the program goes in and pick the template and create an instance of that template and attach that to that particular item. So the end users can start from a template. They don't have to create the document from the scratch. Okay, so once this process goes through, once the launch is complete, and we produce a PDF, which we call as a new product information sheet, which is used by the business later on to refer to that particular product. So this is just another K2 form converted into a PDF, and this will be printed if required, and this is the outcome of this process, and which will be used by the entire business just to look into some of the important information. Okay, so we talked about these different features separately. Where do we tie them all together? We are using a SharePoint site. There is a site for product launch application, as you can see in here. So this is the landing page, and we got a list in here to see all the in progress items, and next to that there is an introduction to product launch site, and you see a health check, the most recent items, so the green and red based on the status of it, and you have access to the commonly used documents, templates, and you see all the stakeholders in the process, and also there is a side feed there where all the users, all the stakeholders in the process can discuss about the progress of a certain product launch item. Okay, that's a quick overview of the application from the development perspective. And the next application that we have picked to show you today is contracts and agreement register. Kate?
Thanks, Guyan. So yes, one of our 10 applications that are in our system is our contracts and agreements register, which is an automated workflow and form process, where it also means that we can keep all of the associated documents together in one place and visible for all the important stakeholders. So historically, our old process was a lot of email records going around with document attachments and comments. If a person had left the business. We may not have had access maybe to the most recent and up-to-date contracts or discussions that were happening. So by placing it all together in one place, we're able to manage that from our procurement and facilities managers perspective. But as well, our stakeholders are able to manage and view all the contracts that are applicable to them. So that was also a big section with our contracts and agreements as well, was ensuring that we kept it secure. So it is a very good feature as well that it's only available and viewable to those people who are direct stakeholders for a particular contract. So I'll take it back over to Guyan to talk you through the technical.
Thanks, Kate. So just like product launch, this app starts from a SharePoint list. So we use the SharePoint list as a master list, and we are utilizing out-of-the-box SharePoint views just to give users different filter criteria in terms of SharePoint views. And most importantly, these items can be searched through SharePoint search. So the users, the experience through intranet is not going to change. So they're going to experience the same thing. So it's not a different portal that they are navigating into when they want to use these K2 apps. So the consistency across the intranet here is called the shed. So they're the same experience that they have in other areas of SharePoint sites and subsites and document libraries and lists. It's the same experience with K2 apps as well because of the integration that K2 and SharePoint, which works seamlessly. Okay, so as you can see in here, you see these columns in this list, and which is used to do some search if business wants to find out a contract based on the contract number or the service or the agreement owner or the department. So these are all metadata that can be used for search as well. So let's take a look at the submit form. It's again a pretty simple. And as you can see, there are some sections in here: contract owner details, supplier details, and there is a section for us to upload documents. And if you notice, there is a column in that particular section called document type. This is a managed metadata column, which is managed by the IT department. It's a control way that we manage tags in STIHL. So we can use the same tags to tag documents related to contracts and agreements as well. And contracts details, and also we can attach some of the details from other processes like CapEx. So the most important thing here is that most of the components here are reusable components. So once we developed the first application or two, and then it was just reusing them with minor changes, and that worked out really well in terms of efficiency. And now the applications are developed in days, in a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days, as opposed to working on it for weeks and weeks. All right, so that's a quick view of contracts and agreement register. The third application that we have selected to show you today is the end user call management. Kate?
So end user call management here is handled obviously at a first level by our customer service team when we have consumers ring. So there are sometimes technically based inquiries that perhaps our customer service staff need to pass on to our technical experts. And the previous process was that they would normally fill out a PDF form that they would then email off to our technical support team and would then lose all visibility of exactly where that inquiry was at. So if the customer rung again, the person in customer service wouldn't be able to tell if they weren't the one who took the call, you know, what the customer was advised, where this current status is at. And we wanted to be able to provide our end customers with a better experience and provide our staff with a better experience. So with this process, once again, it's using K2 forms for us to be able to capture and report on that data, and using the workflow processes to lead it through with automation and provide us some efficiency and a better service to our customers. So once again, over to Guyan on all of the K2 aspects.
Thanks, Kate. So as you can see here, it's again the similar experience for end users, starting with the SharePoint list. It's got the master columns in there. These are the columns that they wanted to see when they first land on the page, most important information. Form, of course, has got more columns than this. We have filtered out the most important columns and put it in the SharePoint list here. So you got the caller details and status, inquiry type, and dealership. And these are the key columns that users might want to see. So this is something common across all the K2 applications we developed, and using a SharePoint list, starting with it, creating views. And you can see in this application, we got two views, general view and the technical view. So based on the audience, they can switch between different views that has got different columns for them to refer. And let's take a look at this form. This is one of the view forms used in this application. As you can see, the consistency across applications, pretty easy to achieve with K2. As I mentioned before, reusability of these components, for instance, the submitter details and customer details, you just take a copy of the previous view and just adjust it a little bit so that you can fit in these extra fields and all that. And you see here, there is my favorite view here is the caller's mood from happy to angry. So, and you can represent the form in a way that end users will absorb it quite easily. So what we have tried to show you today is that what K2 is capable of doing. K2, in fact, can provide applications without SharePoint. Since still got SharePoint in place, we wanted to maximize the outcome of SharePoint as well. So all of these applications work in SharePoint space, and that's a plus thing. So having said that, we could also develop these applications if we didn't have SharePoint as well, using a K2 list and starting with the K2 list and take from there. And there is so much we can do with K2, and it has enormous potential that we can develop so many complex applications, target complex scenarios, and all that. So we have tried to show you some of the things we have done here in STIHL, and I think now I'm going to hand this over to Emma.
Just the next slide, please, Guyan.
Yeah.
No, the next one. Perfect, thank you.
Great stuff. Guy and Kate, thank you very, very much. Guys, it's always interesting to see when your technology is used in real life scenarios and the actual benefit customers derive from that. And leaving the audience with a thought, as Guy mentioned, it is vitally important for the users of these systems and organizations to actually access and interact with this technology from an application that they are familiar with, capable, and confident in, right? As the analyst will tell you, almost 70% of software development applications fail due to user acceptance. People don't want to learn a new screen, a new application. They want to use the environments that they are familiar with. And in the examples that we've seen today, the actual experience inside SharePoint, outside SharePoint, was seamless. You didn't really see a K2 screen. You didn't see anything specific to application. The users saw their day-to-day environment in an environment and an application they were familiar with, and I think that contributed tremendously to their success. With that said, what is next? We are happy to share with you that our next webinar series will start and kick off on the 6th of June. That is a series that will be focusing on why upgrade to K2.5 or K2 Cloud. A number of our customers run some of the previous versions of K2, and I think it is a very interesting series coming up. And even for somebody considering K2 to understand what is involved going to the cloud, going to K2 Cloud, I think it will be of tremendous value. So please don't hesitate, go put them in your calendar and join us on the 6th of June. If anybody has any questions or want to send us any emails after this webinar, you see on the left bottom both Guy and myself. You can send us any emails. We're happy to reach back to you and respond. And going over to the questions that have been posted at the moment, happy to answer them.
There's a question. I think it would be best for Kate and Guyan. Can you please explain any contract approval process application? Is there a way to use the contract register to have different managers across the business to approve a contract before it's signed?
So yes, we have this currently linked in with our Active Directory. So it automatically goes through to the department manager and the direct line managers to approve, depending on who the submitter is and who the type and what the type of contract is. There may also be second and third levels for our managing director to approve, for our procurement and finance manager to approve. So yes, there are different levels on who exactly approves which contracts when, linked in once again to our Active Directory or based on the type of contract and its requirements.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kate. The next question also from Hugh is how well, Rudy, this might be best taken by you, how well would the system work without SharePoint? We currently just store documents in various drives on our system.
You, excellent question. Guys, there's no dependency on SharePoint at all. No dependency. So in this example, we use SharePoint and we've got numerous customers that have invested in SharePoint and Office 365 and have the functionality. It's a great way to leverage that. If you don't have SharePoint and you have your own document store, we're happy to use that. If you have a document management system, we can integrate to those document management systems and give you a very similar experience. I hope that answered the question.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you all for attending. After this session, the recording of the webinar will be sent out to all of you, as well as the case study that Kate has worked with Next Tech and us on. The full case study will be emailed to you after this session. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, guys.